Okay, it is 10 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, certify that we do have a quorum. All 5 members are present. Item number 2 is opening prayer. I believe Father Joe from Sacred Heart could not be here this morning. So, Ricky, you mind leading us in an opening prayer? And following that, Commissioner Leon Clement, will you lead us in the pledges?
Yes, sir.
Would everybody please rise?
Shall we pray? Our Father, we are thankful today for this beautiful day that you've given us, that you allowed us to be a part of and enjoy. I pray today, Father, that you would help us, help this Commissioners Court, that we could have wisdom in the decisions that are made here today. We pray, Father, that all of the issues that we have in our society right now, give us the knowledge and the wisdom that to know that if we replace the hate that's in our hearts with love and compassion and regard for our fellow man and respect for each other, that a lot of these issues would melt away. Give us wisdom today, Father, and we'll give you the honor and glory for it. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 5 is public comments. I don't believe we had anybody sign up. Item number 6 is the consent agenda. We have any items we wish to pull? Pull item G. Let's go ahead and pull C as well. Any other items?
If that's all you want to pull is C and G, I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement.
Second.
Second by Commissioner John Clement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Let's talk about item G, which is deliberate consider possible approval of out-of-state travel to Oklahoma by Constable Russ Harper for weapons school in September of 2020. We have Constable Harper here. I don't know, Gary, if you got a specific question.
I just want to confirm that we're going to be able to fund that out of LEOC money, all of it.
It is funded out of LEOC money. I think there's also a budget amendment for ammo, but we can use the ammo, and Shelley, correct me if I'm wrong, but we can use LEOC money for ammo for that school.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need the budget amendment on item C.
If we could change it to, we can keep the budget amendment, just change the coding to LEOC.
Okay, so modify that a budget amendment to,
I guess we could cover fuel expense and stuff on the other item there.
Yeah, all that would be under conference expense.
What he turns in his fuel receipts, you'll
Well, he has a
LEOC
county, yeah, he has a county vehicle, yeah.
separated from his normal county travel. Move to approve.
we have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leon Clement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. And that was also the reason to pull C, which is deliberate consider possible approval of budget amendments. So I'll go ahead and make the motion that we modify that constable budget amendment to reflect the LEOC account and not the general fund account,
That would be 037.
which would be 037 instead of 001. We have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 7 is deliberate consider possible approval of treasurer's monthly report. Have any-
Move to approve.
We have a motion for approval by Commissioner Snuggs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 8 is deliberate and consider possible approval of a contract for delivery and return for voting equipment with Rescue Me Movers. Pam, you want to speak to this?
So I contacted Rescue Me Movers about delivering our election equipment to the locations. I don't have a contract for them, but they are licensed and bonded. They have cargo insurance. They had no problem delivering the equipment. They're going to deliver the scanners, the poll books, and the express votes and the tables. They will even set up the tables for me, for the judges, and he gave me a quote of $2,500 to do all of that. I thought that was a very reasonable amount to get that delivered that day and to pick up.
He's going to all of them,
12.
12.
Have them going to 12 of them.
12 of them, the smaller ones, you know.
Yeah, because they only have 1 or 2 express
Okay.
votes, and that's pretty easy to pick up themselves, so, and only 1 poll books, but
So in light of yesterday's announcement, you're going to need to do this again in September?
yes, if we decide to use this many,
Depending on how that,
depending on how many we decide we think we should use. If it's just the 1, probably will not have them deliver.
When he's talking about yesterday's announcement, he's talking about the special election we're going to have in,
Senate District 30,
yeah, by the end of September.
and that's September 28th, whatever that Tuesday is, that last
Yeah.
Tuesday in September. Early voting will be middle of that month, which is less than a month away.
So early voting is for 2 weeks.
Early voting looks like for 2 weeks.
Wow. I thought maybe just a week.
That's a quick timetable, especially when preparing for a massive general election as well. So I'm sure we didn't budget for this, but I'm sure there'll be some budget amendments next court to account for some of this. We may even have to, next court will be the 14th, which I think is actually the first day of early voting. So we're going to need to we may have to have a special court just to fund some of the,
Yeah.
some of the expenses. I'm not sure yet. We're still working through that.
You need a motion for this?
Yes.
I so move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement, second by Commissioner John Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 9 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding FY21 budget. We actually got this on there twice, but we'll discuss the changings and have the public hearing, and then talk about ratification on 12. Shelley, you have any changes?
Yes. I added $500 to the library's budget, 001-650-420. They're having fax line problems, so we set up a separate line through Nortex. So that's going to be an additional $30 cost per month.
Yeah, I think it's 30 a month.
Because we signed the perch agreement last court, that's a monthly service. So I added $17,640 to IT's budget, 001-503-390 for subscription line. And added $200,000 in contingency and precinct 3 budget. I passed out a budget summary sheet. The budgets that are in your packet aren't right due to changes. So the summary sheet is current up to whatever other changes that are made today.
Anybody else have any other?
I'm going to change tire budget back to 50,000. It is line item 303. I have 35 in there. I'm going to up it back to 50, which will add 15,000 to what I have on here.
You're going to add 50 to
Add
30,
15 to my tire budget.
15.
15, sorry.
Total
That-
of 50.
Okay,
Yes, a total of 50.
It's a little bit hard to hear.
Sorry.
that's okay. I heard 35 and then I thought I heard 50.
Yeah, well,
The budget will become 50,000, I think,
Okay.
for that.
yeah. That's all.
Any other changes? Any other precincts? that was more just a discussion. We'll go into the public hearing, which is number 10, to open the public hearing for the proposed FY 2021 budget. It is 10:10. Do we have anybody, I don't know that we have a sign-in sheet, but do we have anybody that wishes to speak on the proposed budget? Seeing none, item 11 is to close public hearing, which is 10:10. Public hearing will be closed. Item number 12 is deliberate, consider possible action regarding the FY 2021 budget. So in light of the changes we mentioned earlier, unless anybody else has anything else?
Just need a motion.
I need a motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Leon Clement. I can't remember which one of these. We roll call the taxes
And budget.
and budget. So unless there's any further discussion, we'll roll call this. Commissioner Hollowell, how do you vote?
This is concerning approval of the budget.
Approval of the budget. Commissioner Snuggs, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner John Clement, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Clement, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ayes have it, the budget passes 5-0. So item number 13 is deliberate, consider possible adoption of 2020 county tax rate for maintenance and operation. Last court, we tentatively approved the proposed no new revenue rate. And I'm assuming we want to maintain the same breakdown as what we have, which would be listed in your packet, which is road and bridge still at 12.5 cents, permanent improvement still at $0.015, the lateral road fund still at .0001, and then the general fund would be 0.2652. So a grand total, the interest and sinking will be on a separate line item, but the grand total of that would be 40.53, so .4053. Unless anybody has any changes or questions or thoughts on any of that.
Page is that breakout.
The breakout is on page 416 of the packet. And then the following one would be your interest and sinking, which is .0172, which gives you the total of the effective rate of 4225. We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell to approve the M&O rate.
Second.
Second by Commissioner John Clement. We'll roll call this vote. Commissioner Hollowell, as to the M&O maintenance and operation tax rate, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Snuggs?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner John Clement?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Clement?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 14 is to deliberate and consider possible approval of 2020 Cooke County tax rate for interest and sinking. We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell to approve the rate of .0172.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leon Clement. We'll roll call this vote as well as to the interest and sinking rate. Commissioner Hollowell, how do you vote? Commissioner Snuggs?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner John Clement?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon Clement?
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 15 is to open a public hearing regarding preservation and restoration of district clerk and county clerk's records archive fund and plan for 2021. It is 10:13 and that public hearing is open. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak at that public hearing? Seeing none, that public hearing is closed at 10:13, which is item number 16. Item number 17 is deliberate and consider possible approval of preservation and restoration of district clerk and county clerk's records archive fund and plan for 2021. Marcy, you want to, since you came all this way down, I'll let you speak to it.
Good morning, gentlemen. So the plan itself is pretty much as it always is, other than just moving forward, is to continually get these records scanned in. As we all know that in 2013, that House Bill 1513 authorized the fee not to exceed $10 for the management and preservation of these records. The bill had a sunset of September 2019 to revert back to $5. However, in 2019, Senate Bill 658 made the fee permanent and not to exceed $10. The district clerk's office collects this fee for the sole purpose of records management and preservations. This fund also pays for a part-time position to scan in old records into the case management system, and as of date, the records that have been scanned back to civil were back to 1989, criminal were back to 1991, and tax were back to 2002. Just a quick note of kind of what we've done this last year. The district clerk's office organized the records from the old jail with the help of the maintenance department. Ricky, we thank you for that help. We removed fixed fixtures and added new shelving units so that the records could be maintained in a more controlled environment. During the early months of the COVID shutdown, the district clerks took the opportunity to move the records that were stored above the DPS, and we all know what that looked like above the DPS office. This was records from the early 1920s to 1984. These records were separated, reboxed for their protection and preservation, then moved to the old jail for storage. These records are now ready to start scanning when we get back to those. And it also gives us the number of boxes that we have so that we know where to go move forward to. All these boxes were separated into sections, civil, criminal, and tax, and put into numerical order and put on shelving. That was approximately 1,200 boxes moved. We moved years from 1848 to 2016. This was a huge accomplishment. This was, for one thing that we can thank COVID for, I'd like to thank COVID for this because obviously we were able to do things that we were normally restricted to be able to do. By the actions of this past year, we put our records in an organized and controlled environment, which meets the Bulletin F requirements of the Texas State Library and Archives Commission. There's still a lot to be done, but I want to commend my staff for their dedication to this project because it has put the district clerk's office in a position to move forward more effectively and efficiently.
Thank you, Marcy. Seems like y'all made a whole lot of progress, and I think that's great.
We did, and it felt good. It made, it just was one of those when you walked out of there after all the sweat and the pain and all of that, it was like, wow, what a major accomplishment that we had just did. So thank you, guys.
What's left in the, oh, you don't get off that easy.
Come on now.
Now, what's left in the attic up there in the DPS building?
I think, Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's stuff from the DA's office. I think there's still some things from the EMS and things like that up there. Is that about what it is? Yeah. We still have probably 10 books that we put a work order in here a while back to get those moved, but we're patiently, there's a lot of things going on, but those are the only things that we have over there. Of course, with the light that comes in those windows, the moisture that's over there, all of that stuff is major deterioration for
Yeah,
records.
that's the reason I asked. It used to be full, this chock full now.
It's still full,
It's still full. You didn't,
except for the two units that we were on. Those are gone now.
County attorney stuff is gone, and now the district clerk stuff is gone. The district attorney still has about 200 boxes.
And then there's some miscellaneous stuff that nobody really knows who.
I mean, that was a mess 10 years ago. And what can we do to clean that up? Because it is literally rotting in place up there.
I think the DA's office may just need a location to move it to. I'm not sure
I think they have a location at the jail.
Because I know that was a problem at one time before when I talked to them, is they didn't think they had sufficient spot to move
Yeah.
all that. They may not have enough.
Yeah.
We ought to look into it because at one time that roof was leaking. We got that fixed, but that paper was literally rotting up there.
And I'm sure some of the EMS stuff, if whatever's up there, can either be, it's probably old enough to be shredded or whatever.
I was wondering about
Yeah,
that.
I can tell you a lot of our stuff that was in there was bound with rubber bands back when they did it that way back in the day. And that was all glued to the paper, and we were able to get most of that off. We put them in individual file folders again, just to get that protected until we were able to get it scanned. I know that records from 1950 to 1848, those are permanent records, so those have to be maintained. However, we will get those scanned, and I'm looking into the future, but those are probably going to be things that will have to be outsourced just because I'm not going to be the person to put them through a self-feeder to scan them because
Well, you're to be commended for getting all that done. I was just curious what was left in there.
Yeah.
And everybody, the clerks are getting all their stuff put away and saved. And if we've got a bunch of just worthless stuff up there, we ought to get it out. Because,
That's what's left, yeah. And I'll check with those offices.
anyway, thank you.
Pam? Thank you, Marcy.
I won't go over what all Marcy went over about the fees not changing. I'll just go over a little bit about what we've accomplished this last year. Of course, we did that 5-year project, and this is our year 5, 2020 and 2021. What they've completed in the year 5 was all our OPR, now official public records, are scanned and indexed back to 1850 to 2020. They're still working on the vital records, getting them all indexed in the system. And of course, we're working on the criminal cases. They've been scanned by Avenue, but we're having to move them over into net data. Still working on that. I also this year got all our plats scanned since we bought the new plat plotter. They're all scanned and indexed, but they're only scanned into the county clerk network drive. We're still trying to get them into the Avenue system where the public can actually view them. That's about it. We're getting close to being everything in my office being digitized by 2021. It should all be finished and complete.
Good.
And then maybe we can work on maybe restoring some of the old books, maybe some of the old commissioner books or something. But that's all I got.
Good job. Any questions?
You intend to have the plat, what did you call it? You intend to have that rigged up too next year so the public can access the plats with the,
Right, yeah.
yeah, okay.
We'll work on that.
Any questions for either one of these departments?
You need a motion?
I do.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement, seconded by Commissioner John Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 18 is to open a public hearing regarding reduction of a speed limit on County Road 302 located in Precinct 3 to 35 miles per hour. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak at this public hearing? Seeing none, the public hearing was open at 10:22 and will be closed at 10:22. Item number 20 is to deliberate and consider possible approval of reduction of speed limit on County Road 302 located in Precinct 3 to 35 miles per hour. Commissioner John Clement.
I've had a couple of residents contact me about people driving too fast on that county road. It is a chip seal road. I have also witnessed, I nearly got run over one time out there, was trying to stop traffic, but we could not find any listing that there was a speed limit call for that road, so we want to go ahead and put the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit there. I make a motion we approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner John Clement, second by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 22 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding approval of Senior Service America Host Agency Agreement for JP Precinct 1. We do have Judge Jody Vance here. Jody, you want to tell us basically what?
Jody Henry?
Vance, sorry.
Wait a minute.
Jody, tell us what
How
you
many
got.
fingers am I holding up?
I don't know, it's been a long day.
You skipped 21.
Skipped one, you skipped 21.
That was, oh, I just kicked that out, didn't I? Hold on there, Jody. We'll get right back to you.
You'll get it right this next
I'll get it right this next time.
Judge Henry?
Judge. Item number 21, sorry, I Xed that one out thinking we were due with that. Deliberate and consider possible approval of preliminary plat for Westview Farms, a proposed subdivision on 319, County Road 319 in Precinct 3. Commissioner John Clement, you want to speak to this?
Well, I talked with Dannenbaum, the engineering firm that's representing the county, and they have not reviewed the last changes. So I would like to give some time and discuss this on the next court to approve this preliminary plat. I would like to hear what Dannenbaum has or has not found their last revision.
So I think there was some additional changes that were sent in late last week on it, and they just hadn't had time to review that. So I don't know if you want to table it till next court, or do you just want to bring it back up then?
Let's table it to next court.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner John Clement to table item number 21. Second by Commissioner Leon Clement. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Now, Judge Henry, deliberate and consider possible action regarding approval of Senior Service of America Agency Agreement for JP Precinct 1. I was already jumping ahead to help explain exactly what this was. We've done this a few other departments, but the floor is yours. You want to explain kind of what you're...
Yes, thank you. What I'm asking for is the ability to enter into an agreement with the Senior Community Service Employment Program. That's a senior citizens on-the-job training program, trying to reintroduce seniors back into the labor force. In summary, what it'll do is provide a clerk up to 20 hours per week at minimum wage, paid for by this program, by a grant that they receive for the program. Be no cost to the county. The office would utilize that person for scanning documents and doing basic data entry on traffic citations primarily. I think that's probably what our intent right now would be, to limit the person to. Again, it's a training program, so it's designed to try to teach those people new skills to where they can actually enter the labor force on their own. So it's not for one person for a long-term employment. It's, by design, it's designed for them to learn something, learn some basic data entry skills, and then move on to the labor force. No cost to the county. We do have a workstation available that we can utilize for that. And as Judge Brinkley said, I think it's been done, utilized for other positions within the county. Used to be called something different, but I think you have a person as
That's
well,
the same
Ricky.
system that you've used, and I think Judge Lewis a few years ago used that for JP1 as well.
So move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Leon Clement, seconded by Commissioner Hollowell. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Judge. Item 23 is deliberate, consider possible acceptance of insurance proceeds for damage to the courthouse, annex, and old EMS buildings for losses suffered in hailstorm on May 4th, 2020. Ricky, you want to talk to this any, or do you want, or does Shelley want to talk to it, or?
Well, I guess all I would have on it is I walked the properties with the adjuster and adjusters. There were more than one. And we determined that the courthouse needs to be replaced, the annex building needs to be replaced, and then the old EMS station.
Just the roofs on
Roofs,
those
not the
buildings.
building.
Sorry,
I was gonna say, that's a big pill to swallow.
job security. Now, the roofs are they're paying to replace the roofs. Of course, there's adjustment on it for the depreciation for the age of the roof. Other than that, I didn't print off the document that they sent. They sent a report that I'm assuming you all have.
Yeah, the breakdown on what the building damages are in then less recoverable depreciation, and then the actual cash value, and then what their insurance will cover. So it looks like the full cost of repair or replacement is $256,094.81. But their total payment, by the time you subtract depreciation and then the $1,000 deductible, would be $171 $171,256.69. So there's 85,000 almost difference between those two numbers.
We don't have a whole lot of choice, and the money's there.
The money's there.
Well,
I guess the only question is where we pulled the rest of it out of to have the repairs.
Well, and also the reason why I sent it to y'all was because TAC is suggesting to include the metal roof on old EMS since the shingles were damaged. The sentence is, I would suggest at least including the metal roof at the old EMS since the shingles were damaged. It would make sense to do the entire roof. And so, I mean, there would be some decisions that would need to be made. And I would assume that the metal roof is not included in
In that cost.
in that cost.
Probably not. It doesn't cost a whole lot to put a roof on that side.
I wouldn't worry about the metal one.
The issue there is where the metal roof connects to the other building. That's where the leaks
Gotta-
have occurred. The metal roof itself may have a little leak or two, but with a screw hole or something, but
Yeah, but nothing.
Are you saying, Leon, you wouldn't worry about putting metal on it?
I don't know if I would address that metal roof. Probably your biggest problem, other than where the two buildings connect, is probably screws loose or something. They can be fixed.
yeah, new flashing or something like that.
I'm sure it got beat up, but if you replaced every metal roof in Cooke County that got beat up by 10 because it's beat up,
Oh, I'm missing something, because what I'm hearing is they want to replace shingles with metal.
No, they're suggesting if you're going to do the shingle part of it, you might as well do the metal
they
part
want us
of
to
it.
do the 10 side too, and I don't want to do the 10 side.
But that decision has no impact on these numbers that we're.
No.
Okay, just making sure that there's not a,
No,
so I don't have a problem not doing, like you said, it probably can be addressed through,
Well, and I would say whoever is going to replace the shingle roof won't address the issue where the metal ties into the other building.
unless
It's
we,
a step down. And-
unless we have them just address
Unless
that.
we-
They're going to replace the shingle roof,
Correct.
On the old EMS building.
okay?
And then you've got that building right
Where
south
they meet
of it.
together, that
Well,
metal.
I'm saying if we're going to replace shingles, why wouldn't we go ahead and replace them with metal?
Oh, you're wanting to put 10
The
on.
metal roof in place
It's
of
going
the
to cover the
shingle.
cost of the shingles, the difference would be minuscule if you wanted a metal roof.
Oh, okay. We were talking two different roofs though.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
There are two roofs on that building, half of it's shingle, half of it's metal.
Yeah, the shop where the
Yeah,
bays
bays.
were metal, the rest of it is composition roof. And
Correct.
that's what we're talking about changing, so why wouldn't we make it all metal?
You want to make it all metal. The question was, don't address the other metal roof.
right.
You're saying just pay the difference between the shingle
Pay the
and the metal?
difference and put a metal roof on it, have a metal roof on all of it.
And then make it all the same, new roof all the way across.
But
No,
no,
it'd be-
it's just the metal roof on the shingles,
It'd be in-
because they're not going to replace the metal on the base.
On the bays.
Right.
Yeah, they did,
But then you'll have,
they're not paying to replace the metal that's existing.
You've got a question on what happens where they
The
intersect.
transition there is the issue.
Which we could have the roofers
Make
address
them
that
include that
transition.
in it, yes.
Because that's most likely your most vulnerable
That's a
spot.
bigger issue right there.
And they'll have flashing for that.
They should, yeah, and they'll be
Yes.
there. I mean,
Flashing.
it should be a minimum cost.
It will, but what I'm saying is, just to replace that roof is not going to address, because it's split level, this other
Yeah.
roof comes into it. So they're replacing up here, not down here, unless we tell them.
Unless we tell them to.
And even if you replace both sides, you still have the joint that has to be fixed, so it's,
But if they replace the shingles with metal, they'll put flashing.
Yeah.
And it should solve the problem, right?
or we can get them to.
Well, it,
We can tell them to, it might
Not
cost
unless
you a
you
little
tell
more
them to.
money.
but they should already have flashing there because you're doing metal on metal. I mean, it's not going to be, yeah. It would
So we
be,
just let that be a part of the scope of
Yeah.
work that they're supposed to do, and it'll be all right.
I agree.
That doesn't sound like brain surgery there.
Now, does that,
I don't think that has any impact on,
will that have any impact on the amount of money or,
I think
No,
they're just going to give us the 171, 256 and go tell us to fix the roof.
right.
Yeah.
And what they do is they will give so much,
Mhm.
and then we have to provide them records that we did the job, and then they will give us the rest.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hollowell, seconded by Commissioner John Clement.
We're gonna use metal.
I think we're using metal on the old EMS.
Are we gonna go out for
And I-
bids for this, or how are we gonna
I think
handle
we're
this?
tasking Rick with,
Well, we can use somebody on a
On
co-op,
contract.
and we don't have to bid it, or if we do bid it, then somebody's gonna have to write some specs somewhere.
I think we use
Right.
buy boards or co-ops.
TAC has a guy that they recommend that we use that is paid for. And he can do bid specs and also contact roofers or whatever.
So using him as the middleman, basically,
Or
to
the-
be
yeah, or
the,
the project supervisor or whatever.
How does he
Take
get
him
paid?
out of our proceeds or?
no, I think he's paid for from tax.
He's paid for,
TAC furnishes that?
yes.
That's to make sure you have a quality product done, so they don't have to turn around and pay it again. And
That's the point.
If anybody, how do I ask the question? Have they had success with that? Is that something new they just started, or?
They haven't been doing it very long. They said what they were finding was that a lot of counties didn't really have the expertise on their staff, so they would just put it out for bids, and a lot of times they were getting roof jobs that wouldn't last very long, so they were having to pay another claim sooner.
Okay.
So this guy's sort of an expert in that field, and I talked to him again this morning to verify, and to Brett, and he said that that was covered. His services was covered under the policy that we have, so.
That don't sound like a bad deal.
No.
What they're finding is that this guy's knowledgeable enough that he can even, for example, and that's what the guy recommended at the annex, it has a TPO roof on it. He said there's no reason to tear all of that off. He said you can go back with a hardboard on top of the TPO that's there. It already has insulation board under it, and then they can upgrade to a better quality roofing system. And because you don't have to pay for the cost of tearing it off, you can spend that money on a heavier product that will take more hail.
Yeah, so you're spending the same basic
Spending the
dollar
same
amount,
money.
but you're having a better
And
quality.
you're getting an upgrade roof. And he said that's what that guy provides. He has knowledge of that.
Sounds good to me.
Works for me. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 24 is deliberate regarding status and future needs of new CPS court and consider any possible action regarding the same. Ricky, you got anything on this one too, since you already sat down?
We're basically where we were. I've got a carpet guy that says he's about 4 weeks behind, that he's supposed to come and look at it and give me a price on it. He hasn't done that yet. And then the locksmith is waiting on a plate that he needs to finish putting the locks on the doors. But the doors going into the courtroom are finished and lockable now. It's just the two side doors that he's having a hard time getting parts for it.
So with the potential, or not the potential, but the September election now, we need to make sure whatever carpet thing we do works around the early voting that's going to take place. There'll be 2 weeks of early voting starting mid-September.
All right, I'll work.
So either before or after that, I mean, it's,
Right.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks, right?
that's in basically 3 weeks from
3
now.
weeks. Okay.
So, and then it'll be tied up for 2 weeks, so it'll be 5 or 6 weeks
Right.
before.
And
And then you got to then you got 2 weeks, and then there's another,
budget.
and then there's the other 3 weeks of early voting.
Well, and court right now is supposed to start October 1st unless OCA,
Unless they change the rules again.
unless they change, push it out again.
I was gonna say, I was wondering when they were gonna crank it up.
Well, they push it back every month, once a month, but,
I'll push him to get it done as soon as possible. We won't have to worry about it.
yeah.
It's harder and harder to get people to do things.
Anything else on item 24? If not, item 25 is deliberate and discussion regarding possible various grant funds. The first one is the FEMA 2015 flood. We got extensions granted, did we not?
Supposedly.
Supposedly?
I don't know if that's gonna help or hurt.
Still hadn't seen any new money. have
Hadn't
we?
seen any money.
Anything else on the 2015? The 2020 COVID-19 FEMA grant, I don't think we've got anything on that one. CARES Act funding, we have anything new on this?
I guess they want me to submit what we've spent so far.
I think so. They're getting pressured, the state's getting pressured by the feds to show that the money has been expended or is being expended. So I think they're putting pressure on us to show where we spent it. But we're still in that initial 20% number, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, yeah.
And we may use some of those funds to help cover some of the related expenses on this upcoming September election. Anything else on CARES Act? Next is Public Safety COVID grants. I hadn't heard anything.
I still haven't even heard if we've been approved or not.
We hadn't heard anything since early June or somewhere in that area?
Yeah.
Then E is CTIF road grants. Anything new?
We've been doing things, we've been completing stuff, roads. You're not gonna turn anything in to the end of the month,
Yeah, which
once a
is
month?
next
We all got
Monday.
the clarification on the labor.
FEMA rates, right?
And if we're not doing anything, you don't need any report until we start.
So, unless you're changing up what project you're gonna work on.
And we have 5 years to get this done, right?
Yes.
Anything else on CTIF?
Nope.
Next up is HAVA elections grant. Pam, I think you've pretty much got everything ordered and
It's actually all the 31 express votes and scanners have all come in, and they're all set up, ready to be programmed from ES&S. Hopefully they can get that done before September.
yeah.
You've got to find out what kind of new ballots you're gonna have to have and all kinds of things. Can you turn that around that quick?
I guess I have to.
I believe all the funds have been expended for HAVA.
Yeah. So if you need any funds on election stuff, we've got that larger CARES Act.
Right.
We might be able to use for it.
And we've even spent the county match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's been. And on 26, it's executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act 551 of the Government Code. We have personnel matters, consult with attorney, real property, and then security devices and audits. It is 10:43. And we will recess and then go into executive session.
Can we take a 5-minute break?
5-minute break. Okay, it is 11:29. We are back in regular session. Item number 27 is deliberate and consider possible action on public health emergency declaration for COVID-19. I don't believe we have anything new. Item 28 is deliberate and consider possible action on personnel matters. I don't believe we have anything. Item number 29 is deliberate and consider possible ratification of documents related to ransomware incident response. Do we have a motion to ratify the signing of those documents?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Snuggs, second by Commissioner Leon Clement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Item number 30 is deliberate and consider possible action on purchase of real estate and budget amendment for the same. We need some action here. You want me to-
Move. Was that generic enough?
No, I mean, we're under contract, and I think we're fine on that. It's the purchase of,
Have to give the location.
Well, I think you do at this point, if it's under contract and we're about to sign the deal.
Where'd it go?
Purchase of vacant lots
Purchase of vacant lots?
in downtown Gainesville at a price of $175.
Yeah.
What is it? I've got it on here, which is
Where is the address?
known as 301 and 315 West Main.
Yep, 301, 315, lots 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
And there's actually that entire south block.
That's South Block, but that's how it's listed here.
Yeah, yeah.
301 and
And
315.
for earnest money of $2,500. Approve the payment of
Approve
earnest
the
money.
payment of the earnest money of $2,500.
And
for
authorize the
purchase
judge to, and budget amendment. And authorize the judge to sign all necessary documents for closing.
You're, that's why I didn't say any more, that's why I didn't say any more than what I did.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
I
I'm
didn't.
assuming we have a motion by Commissioner Leon
Yeah, I have
Clement.
a motion.
Second by Commissioner
Approve the
John
purchase
Clement.
of that property.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0. Future agenda items? We have a workshop next week, I believe, for subdivisions. Next Monday
I don't remember.
10 o'clock.
at 10 o'clock.
Glad to see y'all 4 Mondays in a row.
4 Mondays in a row.
What about is the TAC pre-legislative,
It's this week.
that's
It's
this
it's the
week,
back
isn't
end
it?
of this week.
only it starts Wednesday?
Wednesday,
The
Thursday.
virtual,
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and
the
I think
virtual
Friday.
tour. Yeah.
Yep,
Not what?
not shareable.
Shareable.
Yeah, I think they're gonna try to. They got like 500 people or something, 600 people registered, some kind of insane amount, because there's not very many of that going on. Any other future agenda items?
Anything that needs to happen on this election coming up?
Yeah, we need a,
Special meeting or
well,
something?
we may have to have one for timing on that, but Pam, let me know once you kind of start digesting that.
Yeah, you've got a lot to figure out.
We could work in an action item next week if we had to to move some money around.
If there's something we need to do, you need to let us know.
Item 32 is to adjourn.
I make the motion.
We have a motion by
Second.
Commissioner John Clement, second by Commissioner Leon Clement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes 5-0.